Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Users. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Cover. Today we're going to take a look at a cool old issue of the Fantastic Four. It's issue number 119. Three Stand Together or Die. There you have Ben and Johnny busting into what looks like a prison, and in a prison cell is T'Challa, the Black Panther. All right, this particular issue is from 1971. I want you to keep in mind, this is, again, from 1971. For those of you who are maybe same age as me, you probably know what was going on back in 1971. You know, Vietnam War is still kind of happening. A lot of race relation issues here in the States and probably across the world. It was a time of great kind of upheaval and, you know, a lot of weird stuff going on. You know, it's kind of the end of the 60s, flower power, rebellion, all this sort of thing. And Marvel, I think, always did a really good job around this time period with incorporating a lot of what was happening at the time in a lot of their storylines. So this is a pretty cool one-issue story, but touches on a lot of really tense issues. And you know, now, 2022, a lot of what I'm going to kind of show and talk about in this issue probably wouldn't go down too well today. But, you know, back then, that was the world we lived in. So, and actually we live in it still today, but the type of stuff that they talk about, some of the dialogue in this issue, it would not be cool today. So I'm just kind of saying that because I'm going to talk about and show some things here that, you know, for those of you not familiar with comics from back in this time period, might seem, you know, a little off-putting. So, again, we've got John Buscema, Joe Sinnott artwork in this particular issue. You got Stan Lee, editor, Roy Thomas, writer. Like I said, John Buscema, artist, Joe Sinnott, inker, Artie Simic, the letterer. Basically, the John, Joe, and Artie team did some great work on this particular book, and I believe they all three of them worked quite a bit on Thor right around the same time period. So here we've got three stood together. The Fabulous Fantastic Four battle for the Earth and for the soul of a man. So here you've got, they're in the Baxter building, and of course, what is going on? But the Human Torch and the Thing arguing about something, and the Thing letting it get out of hand, and of course he's just trying to punch the Human Torch. He hits the wall of the Baxter building. Kablooey, there goes a hole in the wall. I'm thinking, how are you going to fix that now? So, Ben, for Pete's sakes, cut it out. Not for Pete's sake, not for anybody's. You've had it, Junior. So, of course, you know, the brick and concrete is flying out across the Manhattan skyline. Johnny goes flying after it. He uses his torch powers to melt the debris, right? But then, of course, all the molten lava is going to fall down to the streets and harm people. So what does he do? He creates this, I think, really bizarre. He creates this like torch funnel to let all that molten debris then funnel into a factory. You think the people of the factory could be a little worried about that? What happens if all this stuff goes down into the factory and backs everything up and the factory explodes? Did Johnny think about that? I don't think so. Did the writers of this think about that? I don't think so. 1971. So he goes back. So there's Ben. He goes, you got it all backwards, Matchhead. You're the one who started this rhubarb. So, of course, Johnny comes back, flies back inside, and, you know, Ben is still swinging at him. And he's like, it's clobbering time. So the two of them are back. They're back in the building. And, of course, who intervenes but Reed and Sue. So here, you know, they basically say, you guys got to stop this out, you know, and Reed goes, World War III just ended. Guess he means the Cold War, right? Because there was no World War III, technically. So then, you know, so he gets them to kind of stop arguing and whatnot. I mean, we've seen this play out many times before. But then, of course, Ben's like, oh, what are we going to do with this mess now, whatever. So Reed is like, well, let me call in Auntie. Auntie is short for Automatic Neuro Robot in charge of tidying up with increased efficiency. So basically, Auntie comes in, little robot, and starts putting everything back together. Is going to put the wall back together and everything like that. How Auntie's going to do that, I have no idea, but hey, it's comic books. Meanwhile, Reed lets the two of them know, you know, I have to get back to a phone call. We've got a video call. Video call in 1971. Something we take for granted today, but back then, there was no such thing, right? So they're on a video call with someone from Wakanda. Okay, so of course something very, very important. So T'Challa, what's the Black Panther's number two honcho want with us? That's what we just may learn, old buddy, if you just keep still a moment. I'm sorry, sir, as you were saying. It is rather I who apologize, Reed Richards. So there, of course, on the video screen there down below, you can see the number two person at Wakanda. He says, for troubling you with what would ordinarily be an internal matter our tribe could handle, but this is hardly an ordinary situation, as I trust you'll soon agree. We're all ears, Taku is his name, proceed. Gaze carefully upon the features of these two men, you who are the sworn blood brothers of the Wakanda tribe. Upon your finding them, and find them quickly, may depend the fate of the world. Allow me to elaborate. So he basically goes on and talks about how the Wakanda created this like kind of invention, this machine called the Vibratron, which could greatly augment the powers of their metal that they harvest there in Wakanda called vibranium. So these two guys come in, they steal the Vibratron, and they're like, oh, what are they going to do with it? So then kind of basically what happens is that T'Challa, the Black Panther, went out in search of those guys, but they went to this other neighboring area in Africa called Rudyarda, and there T'Challa was captured. Okay, and so he goes, a random phrase overheard by the guard they felt revealed their intent to sell the Vibratron to someone who would meet them in neighboring Rudyarda. Great T'Challa pursued them there alone. That was 2 days ago. Since that time, we've had no word from him. So basically, the Fantastic Four are like, well, that sounds kind of fishy, but, why us? But you Wakandans aren't exactly a backward nation, so why do you need us? Why can't you go take care of it, right? And then basically he goes to tell them that that nation is one of the last remaining strongholds of white supremacy on our continent. One of my color can function there only with difficulty. Oh yeah, I read about that place, but I forgot. You can afford to forget. My people cannot. Even our monarchs, traveling incognito as he is, even our monarch, meaning T'Challa, may have run into trouble. And Reed's like, say no more. We'll head right over there. And but basically he says, I'm gonna send Ben and Johnny over there because I'm working on something that I can't leave here right now. So basically he's working on some, if you follow the Fantastic Four in the few issues before, Johnny's girlfriend Crystal, who of course is an Inhuman, she developed this affliction where she couldn't stay in the land of humans, right? She had to actually basically go back to the land of the Inhumans. And Reed is trying to come up with something that will allow her to freely walk about the world, safely and healthily, rather than have to stay under the protective dome of the land of the Inhumans. So, and that's been bugging Johnny because she can't be with him. So Reed is working on that. It's probably a finishing story for another time. So there we have on the plane over to Africa, to Wakanda, right? Some guy tries to take over the plane, and of course he gets thwarted by Johnny and Ben. Johnny melts his gun. Ben crushes his grenade, of course, because that's kind of hard to imagine in this day and age, right? How you can get on a plane with a gun and a grenade, but back then, they weren't checking that kind of stuff. So there you have, obviously the guy pulls the grenade after the gun is melted. Ben grabs it and, gets rid of that. So then they land, and then, this is interesting. So they're at the airport, and they're trying to, they're ready to kind of get a cab to get to where they need to be, and they notice in the airport you have signs that say, this way for Europeans, this way for coloreds. And they're like, yeah, that's pretty extreme here. Why are they doing that, right? So then they go out to catch a cab, and all the cabs just drive right by them because Ben is out front, right? And so he goes, what in the blazes? That's the third empty cab's passed me like I was the plague, or else maybe. And then Johnny says, maybe a black man trying to get to Harlem, Mr. G? And he goes, yeah, something like that. So he reaches out, grabs the cab, and like, you are taking us. And the guy's like, oh, sorry. Oh, you're the thing, right? We'll take you wherever you need to go. So they go. So already you can see, this a lot of the storyline has to do with kind of race relations, right, around the world. Again, no different than today, but it's a big deal back then. So they track down one of the two guys that stole this little gadget there. One is a white guy, one's a black guy. They catch up with the black guy. And basically he starts spilling. They're like, he recognizes them, and he starts spilling where it might be, and how his partner, the white guy, he kind of stabbed him in the back, took off with the gizmo, and he's probably working with someone else, so they automatically they realize that something fishy, even more fishy is going on here. But the guy's got a gun, and while Ben and Johnny are talking, he pulls the gun out, but of course that's not going to do anything to these two guys. So they basically they leave him, and he's like, wait, you're not going to put me in prison? They're like, you're already in prison, dude. It's like you're stuck here in this country because the country has issues with, people of color, and they're like, you're a bad dude, whatever. So anyway, they get information about where T'Challa is, the Black Panther. So they they break into the prison, right? And of course, as you can see, all the guards are white. So, again, a lot of, overtones in this particular story here about this, this one country in Africa, right near Wakanda. So they find T'Challa, they break him out of prison. Okay, now he's actually calling himself the Black Leopard. This is where it gets really interesting. So that's where he stayed up. The Black Leopard is here and will handle stuff. So then they get back somewhere else where the Panther has his costume, right? His what he calls his ceremonial attire. So he goes, thank you, my friends, for allowing me this detour to retrieve my ceremonial attire. At this stage of my life, I feel quite naked without it. And he goes, how about the device we seek? And then Ben says, first things first, Your Highness, how come you called yourself the Black Leopard back there instead of the Panther? And he goes, I contemplate a return to your country, Ben Grimm, where the latter term has political connotations. Of course, the Black Panthers, right? I neither condemn nor condone those who have taken up the name, but T'Challa is a law unto himself. Hence the new name, a minor point at best, since the Panther is a leopard. Sheesh, might as well have a long-winded read here with us. All right, so interesting, because I don't remember at any point in time where they officially went with the name of the Black Leopard for him. So I wonder if this is something they wanted to, a route they wanted to go down, Marvel wanted to go down at this point, but then backed off on that stance, because there was issues with the Black Panthers right around this time. So they basically they go back to, they get some leads, right? They're out looking for the other dude who has stole that the Vibratron, is that what they called it? I forget, the device, right? And they actually do track down Jeff Robards, because they've got some leads. They track him down. He's got the machine, and then they realize that this guy, there's no way this guy's the mastermind. So then a helicopter comes in overhead, and of course, who's in the helicopter but the old nemesis, the Claw, as you can see down below here. The number one nemesis to the Black Panther. Also, he's fought the Fantastic Four quite a few times. So he's like, I'm surprised, T'Challa, that you haven't realized by now that I was behind all this. With this new machine, with this new gizmo, I will be able to create the ultimate vibranium, and I will rule the world with my mastery of sound through the sound claw, right? So he goes, and the battle begins. Okay, great artwork from Buscema on this, as always. So here, he's able to kind of subdue the Thing quickly and the Torch, and then he's in hand-to-hand combat with Black Panther. He gets one over on him, but then, he thought that he buried the Thing under this huge pile of rubble. The Thing comes out from underneath, grabs him, smashes and destroys his sonic claw, right? So then the Panther steps back in and gets into a fist fight with him, and we know how that's going to end up, because, the claw, without that sonic claw, not much of anything. So here, they call the authorities, they take him in, all right? They basically, get the Panther's name in good graces with the authorities there. But then Ben goes, and they go back to this place where you see the sign for, it's like a restroom, I guess, Europeans and Coloreds, and that's like a whole building, outhouse, bathroom facility, whatever. And Ben's looking at the sign, and he's like got this grimace on his face. So what does he do? He goes over to that building and basically destroys it. Okay. And then I want to read this. He goes, I got some things you got to get out of your system. And he goes and destroys the whole wall. He goes, there, somehow I feel a little better about everything. Now, not much, though. Ben Grimm, I don't know how to. He goes, forget it, T'Challa. I didn't do that for you. I did it for me. Now, come on, you two. Let's get out of here. And here you have them walking over and stepping on the signs that say Coloreds and Europeans, right? And then the guards just kind of look at this, and they're like, oh, maybe they're feeling like, oh, maybe, what we've done there is wrong. And that's the end of the story, really. So it's kind of also, in addition to being it's an exciting story, it's definitely a story that signaled the sign of the times, and kind of like Marvel's way of doing like morality play, and how the racism is wrong and all that, and very well done, subtly done, but they were not afraid of tackling things like that, and drugs and war and all that sort of thing. So so pretty cool issue. Issue number 119 of the Fantastic Four. If you haven't checked it out, it's a good read. It's one of those, what I like about that, a lot of times in this age in Marvel, you had these extended storylines that just went on and on and on, and this is one of the rare kind of like one-offs, right? So it's just a quick little one-issue story and then getting back to other things. So pretty cool. So it's good. So yeah, there will not be a sequel to this on next week's episode, right? This is a one and done, 119. Let us know what you think of this one if you have it. If you haven't, go out and check it out. You can get this for pretty cheap. As you can see, I paid $4.49 for that, I guess. It's kind of a weird price, $4.49, right? I don't know. Maybe I paid different. I don't know. But the sticker is on the plastic. What can I tell you? Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Geezers. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. And also subscribe. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. We've got new videos multiple times during the week. So either myself solo, or me with Wild Bill, or me with Kirk, or Scott Berry. We've got a few folks who participate in the channel here, besides myself and Wild Bill, the main guys. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you real soon here on Comic Book Geezers. If you want to get a Comic Book Geezers t-shirt, we also have the link down below to our merch page. It's the Sea of Tranquility merch page, my other channel, my music channel. But all the way down at the bottom of that merch page, you'll see a Comic Book Geezers shirt as well as a coffee mug. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you real soon. I am Pete. Bye-bye.